Pollution is a national problem, not just this year, but every year is this heavy smog and haze, at least in the northwestern region of India, in the Indo-Gangetic plains. Certainly, pollution is a huge problem. But what are the mitigation measures that should be used and what are not being used? Cloud seeding has become the headline grabbing and short-term solution that Delhi government has now started working on. And unfortunately, the three trials that were done for cloud seeding did not yield any results because it couldn't make artificial rain happen to lessen the pollution and particulate matter in the national capital. I have with me Mr. M. Rajeevan Nayarji, who has been the former secretary of Ministry of Earth Sciences and who also has under him a 4-decade long experience in meteorology. And thank you so much for joining us on India Today,
Yeah.
sir. And
Thank
sir,
you.
I gave your introduction in the context that one, you understand climate better than anyone else at the moment. And second, you've also been former secretary of Ministry of Earth Sciences. So, sir, when you look at cloud seeding as a stopgap solution, is it something that has been discussed in the past as well? And has it worked? Because at the moment, a lot of things were being said by IIT Kanpur that they wanted data, which is why they did it in very low moisture. They said that they started doing it in 10 to 15% moisture, and they were wanting to collate some data. I believe IITM Pune is the already have done a lot of work on cloud seeding. So what are your foremost observations from this particular episode that has happened?
Good. So the cloud seeding, making artificial rain is not a really, it's a challenging job. It's not a pure, completely unsolved scientific issue. There are
Mhm.
still uncertainty what are the typical clouds which we can seed and make artificial rain. So the physical process, the experimental process which we need to carry out. IIT in Pune has a series of experiments they have done it. In 2018-19, when I was secretary, we have done an experiment in Maharashtra. We spent about
Mhm.
200 crore, and we have done about more than 250 hours of aircraft observations and bringing and installing a radar, etc. And we have brought out a white paper in 2000. I think last year they brought out the white paper. What is meant by cloud seeding? What are the requirements for cloud seeding? The cloud seeding, we should be very careful. It's not cloud seeding doesn't make you are making a cloud. Cloud seeding is nothing but you have already a cloud, which is small development. You are injecting into aerosol particles inside the clouds and allowing the cloud droplets to grow.
Mm.
When the cloud droplets grow in a particular size, then due to gravity, it comes as rain. Okay, so the clouds, even though it may not be raining, you can make the cloud to rain by introducing more aerosol particles inside the cloud. That is basically cloud
Mm.
seeding. That does not mean
Mm.
in the pure cloud, clear sky, you can create a cloud. That's not possible. Okay, and
Mm.
in this context, when IIT Kanpur was doing this work for last about a couple of days back, what they did not have is they did not have an adequate clouds to do this cloud seeding. They
Mm.
did not have,
So, so,
and
so
frankly,
then the question is, why did they even do it? Did they
that
not
is
follow the IMD's prediction, which is given out every single day, every single hour of the day, sir?
That's true. So there was some clouding during that day, maybe because there was a cyclonic system over Arabian Sea. There is an outflow from there. It was crossing over northern parts of India. So there are little bit clouds, but those clouds are not seedable. It cannot be. We cannot do the cloud seeding in that's clouds. You need a strong development. Already, the cloud should be have been some development, some height. Then you should have already cloud droplets inside. If you don't have cloud droplets, the basic idea of cloud seeding is to allow the cloud droplets to grow in a bigger size so that it can come down. But if the clouds doesn't have enough cloud droplets, whatever you may do, it will not help. Okay,
Mm.
so the on their day when they did, there are not the conditions were not adequate for them to do a cloud seeding. If I was in charge, I would have told them, please don't do it today.
Exactly my question. Who has actually signed off and told IIT Kanpur to go ahead and do cloud seeding on a day when you are noticing that these clouds are not some that you can use for your experiments?
Yeah, that's true. So, but I'm not sure. I was not involved in this kind of process, at least for this time. So I'm not sure. But I was told that IMD was responsibility. IMD was to give the inputs whether adequate clouds are not there or not. So accordingly, they prepared for this event.
Hmm.
So cloud seeding is.
But we have been told through our sources that IMD was not consulted and was not involved in the IIT Kanpur experiments.
So if it is so, it's wrong. It's wrong. I'm not sure whether IMD was consulted, but at least by from newspaper I used to read that say the IITM Pune and IMD were involved in kind of giving guidance to the IIT Kanpur team to conduct this experiment. But if
Hmm.
they not were consulted, IMD and IITM were not consulted, then it's a grave mistake on their part. And I will tell you that IITM has experience of cloud seeding for last 25, 30 years. They started from 1972. But at least for last 10, 15 years, they have series of experiments using aircrafts, going into the clouds. They understand much more than anybody else in this country. I will not tell about the world, but in this country, nobody is better than IITM to conduct this cloud seeding experiment. My basic question is why Delhi government did not approach IITM to conduct this? Is number one.
Hmm.
And even assume that, and second serious issue is this cloud seeding experiment, which the IITM has conducted in 2018-19 during the monsoon season, where there are plenty of clouds are available. Only it may not rain. So then they did the experiment to make sure that it rains. So for that, they did the experiment more than 250 hours of flight observation, sorry, aircraft observation they've taken. Okay, but now what is the problem? Now it is all winter. The air pollution starts in the winter season, where the cloud development is not at all possible.
Yes.
Yeah, so this winter season is not really conducive for cloud seeding. That's my basic issue. I'll tell you a truth. 2018, when I don't remember the year. I think when I was secretary, I think probably in 2018, the same problem came for Delhi. And Ministry of, I will not mention that. I don't remember that official's name, but then a senior
Hmm.
official from Ministry of Environment and Forest called me and said, Rajeevan Saab, we should do this. I politely refused. I said, cloud seeding, artificial rainmaking is not the solution for controlling or mitigating air pollution in Delhi. I said, we cannot do it. I'm an ordinary human being. I may be a scientist, but we cannot create this kind of situation out of blue sky. We cannot do that. So it is not a viable solution for creating cloud seeding, do the cloud seeding and making artificial rain. It's not possible. It's not possible. In winter season, winter season always the atmosphere will be stable. That's why we are getting pollution. So when the atmosphere is stable, the clouds cannot form. It's just the other way. So it is not it's a completely it's out of context. So you cannot expect a cloud to form so that we can do the cloud seeding and bring artificial rain. It is I will not use the word ridiculous. I don't want to use it because all government official. I don't want. But scientifically, if I am scientist, I will tell at his face it's a ridiculous way of doing it. And I'll tell you, even if you do it, I'll tell you, even if you do, assume that cloud seeding is done, and yesterday, and that day, rainfall has come, and some level of air pollution has been reduced. But my
Hmm.
point is that how long it will sustain? It will not sustain. It will be air pollution level will be reduced for a day or 2 days. That's all. But again, the air pollution level will go up. It's not a permanent solution for air pollution at Delhi. Because
Hmm.
the sources are always there. For example, transport is there, the factories are there around Delhi, construction work is going on, stubble burning is happening. All these things are happening. So the sources are always be there in the atmosphere. Okay, so if you start doing this cloud seeding, you may get respect for one day, but then how much money is involved for doing this? And if you don't, and first of all, practically it's not a viable solution. Even assume that is possible, we could do it, then it is not a permanent solution for mitigating air pollution in Delhi. That I will reiterate.
So this is the question. In 2018, you had politely refused to carry out this exercise and jumped to 2025. Even in 2024, the previous government in Delhi had mooted the idea to do cloud seeding. Apparently, according to them, the CAQM, the CPCB, as well as the IMD sat together, had a meeting, and again refused to do cloud seeding as a pollution mitigation measure. This was in 2024. In 2025, again, we are talking about cloud seeding, but this time the government in Delhi has changed. So science has not changed, but the politics has. And to explain to our viewers that cloud seeding does not work in winters, what are the international benchmarks that we look at? Because when China was doing it in Beijing and Dubai has done it, what has been their reasons of doing it, and where did the idea actually emerge from that we should do it in India?
I'm not saying that it cannot be done in India. So as I told, the IITM has done it with plenty of hours of observation. Sorry, flights are for doing the cloud seeding. They've done 200, more than 300 hours of observations and cloud seeding. They have done it. So I'm not saying it is not doable, but doable only in the particular season, monsoon season, for example. You cannot do it in winter season. And Dubai is doing, Beijing is doing it, but they are doing at the appropriate time. Anytime you cannot do this. You see, you need basically you need a cloud. Only thing is what cloud seeding does is allow the cloud to grow. That's all is happening.
Hmm.
So if you don't have a clouds, there's no meaning of cloud seeding. So I'm not saying that it is in Indian context, cloud seeding is not appropriate in India. I'm not claiming that. I'm saying that it is still possible, and there is and the IITM report very clearly said there is a benefit of doing it. I will repeat it. There is a benefit of doing cloud seeding. So I'm not completely ruling out the science of cloud seeding. It's a very challenging science, but it is doable. We could do it. We can do it, and we have done it also. But my point is that at the context of air pollution in Delhi, especially in winter season, this is not a solution. That's all I want to say.
Hmm.
I'm not saying anything else. I'm not questioning the Delhi government decision. I'm not questioning
Hmm.
any government. I'm saying that it's not a viable solution for mitigating air pollution in Delhi in winter. I'm talking about winter. For
Hmm.
example, in summer monsoon season, if they have some issues related to this kind of thing, if they want to produce some artificial rain, that is possible. That is
Hmm.
theoretically more possible. But here, even fundamentally, theoretically, this is not a viable solution. The practical challenges are different. That's a different issue. Even theoretically, it's not possible for the preparing a kind of artificial rain during winter season in Delhi. That is very, very sure.
Hmm. So even if cloud seeding is done, and you have completely ruled out that it should not be done in winter season in Delhi, but even if it is done, by what percentage do you see the pollution levels coming down, and for how long is that actually possible to keep
Yeah,
the
that's
pollution
a
levels
very difficult
lower?
question to answer because it depends upon how much rain is produced. If it is a very heavy rain comes from clouds, it all will be washed out. If it doesn't rain heavily, it will comes as a drizzle or small rain. It will add more problems to air pollution because there will be a lot of moisture available in the atmosphere because of the drizzle and all these things. And these particles are hygroscopic. Some particles are hygroscopic particles we call, and that can grow. So that instead of a normal haze, you can have a smoke instead of that. So if you don't have adequate rains, it will add more complication. And assume that if it heavy rain, you can make heavy rain
Hmm.
using artificial rain, which is theoretically is not possible. Assume that it happens, then it will wash out the air pollutants from the atmosphere. That's true, fine. But it will last for how many days? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. That's all. Again, it will come out because the sources
Okay.
are always emitting. Sources are always emitting these pollutants, isn't it? So
Hmm.
basic,
Hmm.
the fundamental rule, the problem to solve this problem, mitigating this air pollution in Delhi is reduce the sources of air pollution in Delhi. That's all. No other shortcut can be done. No other shortcut can be used to mitigate the air pollution problem in Delhi. There's no shortcuts. Life is miserable. Life we have a tough life. So if you really want to help the people, please solve the problem at the base level. The basic issue of reducing the sources of air pollution. Nothing else will work.
So when you were Secretary of Sciences Ministry, what were the steps that you were looking at that point of time to solve the pollution crisis? And what do you think is lacking now? Where have those steps been left behind
See,
when people are, yeah.
very sorry. I'm sorry. Very difficult to answer because I'm not. The Ministry of Air Science was not responsible for mitigating air pollution. It's not my job. It was not my job. My job was
Hmm.
doing science of air pollution, which we had done. For example, at that time when I was there, they asked us, the Ministry of Environment Forest asked us to develop a air pollution warning system. So,
Hmm.
so that we developed during my tenure. We collaborated with the institute called NCOR, National Center for Atmospheric Research in the US, and we developed the air pollution warning system, which is now existing. And
Hmm.
the so-called the Commission for Air Quality in Delhi is using extensively that kind of forecast. So I'm very proud that under my tenure it was It was developed, air quality warning system was produced, developed and installed and operationalized. So the science part we had done, but mitigating is a political call.
Hmm.
It cannot be done by scientists. It should be done by the central government. It should be done
Yes.
in collaboration with the
Yes.
state government. All people have to collaborate. But now, see, it is not a one somebody's individual decision to be done because it involves the transport sector, it involves agriculture sector, it involves construction work, it involves industries around Delhi. There are so many issues are involved. These are all societal problems which a scientist or Ministry of Science cannot resolve it. It has to be done at the highest level by the highest people and also in collaboration with all each other. So it cannot be solved in one day.
Hmm.
Beijing said that we hear that Beijing has resolved this issue, which was existing over 20 years, but then they had the guts to do it. They had that willingness, that they had the
Hmm.
commitment to do it. Here also, I'm very sure that if you have willingness, if you have the guts, and follow the scientific and evidence-based methods, I'm repeating it, scientific and evidence-based methods to mitigate the air pollution, it is possible for us to get a clean air in Delhi in winter. I'm very sure. But then you need a lot of commitments. You need a lot of investments. The commitment is more important than investment. Money, we have money, but the
Hmm.
commitments are not happening. That's my basic problem.
So coming to money also, because every sortie that IIT Kanpur flies from Kanpur, roaming all the way in the outer parts of Delhi and then landing again at Kanpur, costs money. And that is where the assessment needs to be done. How much money can one actually spend from the government's budget on creating artificial rain, which may or may not work, or rather put that money
Exactly.
into mitigation options which are workable and doable.
See, so for doing a cloud seeding experiment, you need money because you have to bring aircraft and what we brought is the aircraft is not the same aircraft which the IIT Kanpur is used. We brought aircraft from outside which have a lot of capability of doing cloud experiments. And because you have to go inside the clouds where you have a lot of turbulence is happening. The aircraft should be able to withstand the kind of turbulence which we experience inside the clouds. So it should be very stable aircraft, and it should be able to locate or keep all these instruments installed inside the aircraft. So that itself will hiring an aircraft from US itself is a big business. Then running it using petrol, then airports, then running with the
Hmm.
human resources available around the aircraft. This is a huge investment. The question is when we did the
Hmm.
experiment, I told you 2 years of experiment cost us 200 crore. 200 crores. So it's a big money. Then we did it because mainly
Yes.
because we wanted to bring out a white paper. Because see, whenever a drought happens, immediately any state government immediately jumps into doing this kind of cloud experiment, cloud seeding experiment. So we wanted to bring
Yes.
out a kind of white paper report saying that this cloud seeding experiment will give you this kind of results, and you have to follow this kind of technical procedures to do it. And finally, at the end of the report, what we say is if you do a systematic way of doing an experiments, if you can conduct it, you will get maximum 18 percentage of more rainfall. There's just 18 percentage. And money
Hmm.
involved into bringing that 18% rainfall is much more than what we can really anticipate. So it's a huge investment. So and I am very sure that as I told in the beginning, also air pollution, mitigating air pollution, cleaning the atmosphere in Delhi, doing a cloud seeding is not a viable solution. It's commercially not viable. Theoretically, it is not viable. Practically, it is impossible job. So I don't know why we decided to do it. I'm not sure. I'm not blaming anyone. So I'm not supposed to blame anyone. But science-wise, I'm a scientist, so I can only talk about science. But science cannot change. Whether it's a BJP government, Congress government, AAP government, science cannot change. Science remains a science. It's evidence-based results. It's all data, all theory. What we simple basic physics theories. So based on this, if I am very sure that it is not a practical solution for Delhi for mitigating air pollution. That I'm very sure. Especially I'm talking about winter season. Probably it may be possible if such kind of episode happens in summer season when already there are some clouds. We can do this kind of. Beijing is done because they did the Olympics games during the summer season, but there are a lot of
Hmm.
clouds available. Whereas we cannot do that.
So thank you so much, sir, because the verdict from you is that one should not do cloud seeding, at least in the winter season, because the science does not support it at all. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on India Today and sharing your precious perspective on this very
Yeah.
important topic.